Welcome back, guys. Another beer review this evening, and this beer review is being brought to you by Brookat Brewery, which is Richard Brookes. Really nice chap that I've met fairly recently. He's been a big supporter of the Hop Edition podcast, and I've gotten to know Richard a little bit. Lovely chap, and he has sent me 2 beers, which I thought I would review. The first is a New England IPA called Godfather. So here's the bottle, which is really nice label going on here. Unfortunately, the label's gotten a little bit damp, so I've been struggled to read a little bit of the detail, but it's 7% ABV, 22 IBUs, I think that says. It is Bark, Pilsner, Golden Promise, Carapils, Wheat Malt, and Torrefied Wheat. But unfortunately, I don't know what the hops are that's gone into it, so I'm going to have a little taste and test and see if I can guess what hops are in it. So I'm super excited. You guys have seen the cheeky bit of pour footage, slow-mo, B-roll, and here she is in the glass. I've got my new Honest Brew tasting glass, which I'm quite a big fan of at the moment. Pretty close to the Kolsch glass, the Tang, I think they call it, didn't they? But I digress. Colour is absolutely cracking. I mean, it just looks like orange juice in the glass, right? Great head. It looks like a very appealing beer indeed. So let me give it a little. Okay, so off the bat, I know that there's Sabro in that beer. I know that much. I don't. Doesn't take me much to smell Sabro. It's a very, very distinctive smell. Like candied desiccated coconut mixed in with like sage maybe. But there's a nice hint of sort of tropicality behind that. I'm not necessarily picking up what that might be. I reckon I'm going to have a guess at like Citra, maybe some Mosaic, maybe Citra, Mosaic and Sabro, or Citra and something like a Zaka or Brew One. Little hints of pineapple in there. Smells absolutely gorgeous. I have actually had this bottle a little while as well. Often I don't get round to the beer fridge all that often, between doing the Hop Edition podcast and obviously drinking my own beer and all the rest of it. So I reckon this has probably been in the fridge for six weeks maybe, and it is still fresh as a daisy. Smells cracking. Thank you, Richard. Much appreciated. So, I mean, in at 7%, it's a hard-hitting New England IPA. Nice body to the beer. The Sabro, and I think it is Sabro, it could be Talus, but I think it's Sabro. Yeah, definitely gives you quite a strong coconut type thing in there. I'm getting hints of kind of some alcohol in there. You can really sense this is quite a high ABV beer. But it doesn't burn. I actually think, in my past experience of using Sabro in quite high ABV NEIPA, is it can kind of accentuate that flavour a little bit. So I'm getting a lot more of the kind of herbaceous coconut thing than I am necessarily like the tropical vibes on the flavour, as in comparison to on the aroma, which has got quite a nice, lovely tropical smell to it. Carbonation is, I would say, probably on the lower side. I might quite like that, just being a little bit higher. That said, the cap might have not been quite super tight, so I might have lost a little bit of that over the weeks it's been in the fridge. Slipping down there, Rich. That is a nice drop. I know Sambro is a little bit of a Marmite hop for a lot of people, and it's a very powerful hop in my experience. I think it has to come with a warning label. I think it can really overpower a beer, and I think it's probably the case in this beer as well. And I've made this mistake a couple of times using Sabro. It can really dominate the rest of the hop profile and the hop flavour. So it's one of those hops you do have to be a little bit careful with and just use. I think it is a wonderful hop if you just use it as a supporting role. It can just really lift the other hops with an interesting kind of dynamic behind it that gives it some width, I guess, some breadth. Because it's giving you a kind of almost creamy, slightly herbaceous, a little bit of coconut there, and you chuck then some really nice tropicality onto the top of that, and it works beautifully. So for me, when I go forward and use Sabro, I'm certainly going to be using it in a much smaller proportion of the hop makeup to the beer, and just allow it to sit in the background, you know. That said, this is by no means a bad beer. This is very pleasant. I'm enjoying drinking it. You know, the problem is when I get sent 7-8% beers, I tend to sit here and I guzzle it as quickly as I would drink a 4% beer, and then I end up, well, you can guess how I end up. Once you get past like the upfront thing I've talked about, you do kind of get like a nice kind of candied orange thing on the aftertaste, and that's really pleasant. I think the alcohol thing's kind of disappeared a little bit now. I've got stuck into the beer. It would be really funny if it turns out that this beer doesn't have Sabro in it, wouldn't it? That would be quite funny. I'd look like a right old tit, wouldn't I? I really do hope it has Sabro in it. You're going to have to let me down gently, Richard, if indeed it doesn't. Let me know in the comments. I am genuinely really enjoying this. It's very pleasant, and I'm going to thank Richard again for sending me this beer. The bottle is now empty. I have another beer from Richard, which is a Raspberry Wit beer, which I would like to review, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to it this evening after that 7% beer. We'll see. So yeah, I decided I would drink it anyway. It's only a Tuesday night, So yeah, I've got a Raspberry Wit beer called Raspberry Beret, for any Prince fans out there. And this one, I can read the label on. So this is 5.3%. He's advised me to recycle the bottle before he will send out more beer mail. So Richard, I definitely will recycle these bottles. Like it is, I'll refill them and send you some beer. This was bottled on the 16th of May. Best before within 7 days, but should keep for 3 months or so, I'm told by the people who made the bottling machine. Alright. So this is Wyman's Pilsner with wheat malt, so it's a classic straight 50-50, I'd have thought, wheat malt Pilsner. This is brewed or fermented with Lanham and Belgian Wit, bittered with Challenger, and then 3 kilos of frozen raspberries in the fermenter for the final 7 days. So I'm expecting, and we shall find out right now, label out, a beautifully pink, if not red, there we go, crystal clear, absolute, clear as a bell. Wow. Now that is a good looking beer. So yeah, that's a very, very nice looking raspberry wheat beer. I guess it is a wheat beer, but it's a wit beer, so it's fermented with Belgian wit yeast. So what am I expecting from that? I guess I'm expecting some phenolics. So perhaps we will get a little bit of banana and clove, and maybe even bubblegum, depending on the fermentation temperature. So that'll be kind of interesting, an interesting kind of dynamic, playing around with the raspberries. So we'll see. So on the nose, obviously a big, strong smell of raspberry. It smells fresh. It smells like really beautiful raspberries. It smells sweet. It smells absolutely gorgeous. I want to have a bath in it. I'm not gonna lie. So let's tuck in. Thanks again, Richard. Overfilled the glass slightly. Alright. So yeah, really lovely strong raspberry flavour. What I like about this is not too tart. It's not got that slight astringency that I think you do get from using an abundance of raspberries. It's just got a really lovely raspberry juicy flavour to it. I'm not really picking up the hints of the Belgian influence to this beer. Maybe just like a little hint of clove on the aftertaste. I guess like behind raspberry it might be a little tricky picking up some of like the banana or the bubblegum flavours. The bubblegum might just intertwine a little bit with the raspberry, kind of emphasising the raspberry flavour. If indeed that is the case, and it does taste very juicy, then well done, Richard, because that's a pretty awesome tactical move. That's super. That's just like it's dry, super thirst quenching. It's sweet and dry at the same time, if that's possible. It's got a sweet flavour, but it's quite dry in terms of the finish. It sort of draws you back to just drinking more. I mean, if you had a keg of this stuff, Rich, I imagine it disappeared pretty quickly. That is just so easy to drink. It's just like fizzy raspberry goodness. So I'm going to call that fizzy raspberry goodness. It's almost as good as Prince's Raspberry Beret. May he rest in peace. You know, I've done reviews of a couple of Raspberry Wits before, and you know, they've all been very enjoyable. But there's not always a massive amount to say about them. You know, when they're good, they are great. This one is great, but it's like raspberry, it's beer, there's not an enormous amount else that you can say about that, other than I'm going to enjoy drinking the rest of it. Thank you, Richard, really appreciate you sending me the beers. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you, no doubt, at the next Hop Edition podcast.